Okay, so you've got your keywords list. Now what do you do with it? This video is going to be all about what your Pinterest keyword strategy is going to be. Everything from your profile all the way down to the pins itself. So if you've done your keyword research, then this video is going to be for you because I'm going to teach you how to implement and where to place those keywords to help optimize your profile and account to get found through Pinterest search. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Braden, and I'm a Pinterest marketing and content strategy coach for female entrepreneurs, bloggers, podcasters, and creators. On this channel, we're going to be doing tutorials, marketing education, and information to help you increase your visibility, grow your email list, grow your community, and your sales. So let's talk today about your Pinterest keyword strategy. So last week, if you didn't watch the video, I gave you a very in-depth tutorial about how you can go and find your Pinterest keywords for your Pinterest marketing strategy. So I'm going to put that up above, and if you want to go check that out, you can click to it and watch it, and then maybe come back to this video so you actually know what to do with your keywords. But what I'm going to do now is I am going to open up the spreadsheet that we used last week in the example of my health and wellness coach friend, and the keywords that I did as, her example, for you to show you how we are actually going to use these Pinterest keywords and where we're going to put them. Okay, so here's the spreadsheet, and you can, again, get a copy of this. I will post the link again in the description down below for you if you want to use this for yourself. So remember, we're going back to these are our main topics that we're talking about, we're creating content about, and that we are trying to get found for in general with our content, either on Pinterest or on any other platform that we are creating content. But what I want to do now is I want to take these keywords that we found and I want to start with how we create our boards, okay? So when we did the keyword research for the topic of stretching, we came back with the most popular and the general keyword phrases that were the top results were stretches for flexibility, stretching exercises, stretches, stretching for lower back pain, stretching exercises, stretching for flexibility, stretching poses, stretching routine, and stretching exercises for beginners. So what I want you to do when you have found your Pinterest keywords is I want you to take the top results, these top level results here that are the shorter phrases, maybe, 1 to 3 words. And I want you to make your boards from these. So what you're going to do is see here, I have board titles and these are the board titles. Now, this is very general still. Stretches for flexibility could include a lot of content. So could stretching exercises, stretching routine, stretching for lower back pain, stretching exercises for beginners, and stretching poses. Those are still very broad. But what I want you to do is I want you to create a board for the top like 4 to 5, maybe 6 results. Now, I always say, let's do 5 boards for each main topic, okay? So here's what that is going to look like. So I have this Canva doc and I'm just going to use this as an example rather than a profile, just because I don't have a profile unless I was to make a test one, a creator one, right? But let's just say that this is your profile and these are, you're going to go make 5 boards for the topic of stretching. So what I'm going to do is I am going to name my top 5 boards based on these keywords that we found when we did our keyword research last week. There we have our 5 boards based on just 5 of the top results that we found when we were doing our keyword research. So this is not optimized yet because what we have to do is we have to go into the board and we need to create a description. Let me show you what that looks like and how we're going to implement those other keywords that we found last week when creating a board description. I'm going to go into my own profile. I'm going to pretend like I am needing to create a board for this topic, but I'm going to make it private because I obviously don't want my marketing account to get found for stretching or anything like that. but let's say we're going to do stretches for flexibility. And so that's what I'm naming the board. Okay, so we're going to keep the board titles a little bit more broad. Now, there's a lot of content, like I said, that can get found here. But what we're going to do is I'm not going to save anything here, is I am going to click these three dots right here. I'm going to do edit board, and I'm now going to create a description. And I'm also going to click keep this board secret, but if you want to get found for your content, make sure this is unchecked. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of these other keywords, the additional keyword phrases that we found, and I'm going to incorporate those into my description to open up the searchability of this board for different variations of this phrase, and to help Pinterest know what keywords I want to get found for. So I'm going to do, let's see, back, daily, leg, yoga, hip, beginners. Let's see, everyday, morning, simple. Okay, so follow this board to learn about stretching for daily stretching for flexibility, along with beginners stretching for flexibility, simple stretching, and everyday stretches. Now, what I'm doing is I'm incorporating these different words. Now, you may say, okay, simple stretching and everyday stretches were not the specific phrase. Well, that's okay, because we know that Pinterest is a very smart platform, and they're going to know if I'm talking about everyday stretches and within the board of stretches for flexibility, that those are going to be related. So we can do variations within our descriptions. So now I'm going to do some more of these phrases in here. You can find back stretching for flexibility, leg stretches, stretches, head stretching, and stretching for flexibility. Now, what you can also add on here is you can find more at stretching, or let's see, BradenHealthCoach.com/flexibility. Okay. Now, this is not going to be clickable, but it's an extra just point there if you want to brand it. So that is now my description. If I come down here, let's see, and I hit done, now what I have is an optimized board. Okay, so that is the first part to your keyword strategy, is creating the names of each of your boards and then also adding in additional related keywords based on what we found here with our keyword research. This is why this comes in handy, because not only are you able to create pins and use these keywords, you can put these here in your boards. Now, one thing that we didn't talk about, which I'm going to go back to my profile right now and show you, is using keywords in your profile strategy. Now, let's say I was trying to get found. I was a health and wellness coach, and I was trying to get found for that, right? So what I'm going to do, and I again want to focus on these topics of health and wellness, stretching, flexibility, stress management, and breath work. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to these top keyword phrases in my account. So let's see, we found stretches were these two keywords here. We found breath work techniques. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Breathwork techniques. Oh, and then we didn't end up finishing, but let's say we did. We didn't go through the whole thing because I remember that was going to take a long time. So here, let's say I would write Braden McKee Co. Okay, that's my company. And then I'm going to do this little dash or this little bracket type of thing. And then I'm going to write the words health and wellness coach special, or actually, I'm not going to write health and wellness. I'm going to write stretching and flexibility, breathwork techniques, and stress management. So that would be keywords in my title there. And those are, again, those top highest level keywords of just like, these are my 4 to 5 content topics, right? And then in here, in my description of my account, I would be writing, my name is Braden and I'm a health and wellness coach for insert your ideal client here. On this account, you can find stretching exercises and stretching routines for beginners and flexibility techniques and routines, breathwork techniques and stress management, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to incorporate some of these higher level keywords and topics on this first page, but also on the top level searches here to incorporate, because I want them to know in general, these are the categories of content that my profile is going to get found with. So you want to optimize this, and you want to optimize your description, your profile, which you can edit here. I'm going to show you if I move edit profile. And then you could change your name here, change this. You can even change your username if you want to. And that's how you're going to update that. Okay. So that is the profile section of your keyword strategy. Now, the last part, which is your Pinterest pins portion of your keyword strategy, is going to look a little something like this. Okay. So first, let me just pretend like we have a content that is actually for stretching. Okay. So I'm going to upload a pin here, and let's just say this is a pin about stretching for what is that board? For flexibility? Yeah, stretches for flexibility. Okay, so we're gonna do that first. We're gonna pin this pin to this board. So what we are going to do, and let's say that this is a piece of content and you're like, okay, this falls under stretches for flexibility, and it's a morning flexibility routine or a morning stretching routine, okay? So what you would title the board is you're gonna go to your keywords here, and we're going to do morning stretches for flexibility. So that's what we're going to title it, is morning stretches for flexibility. And see how this covers this. So it's most related to that board. So we're going to do the most relevant board first, because let's say you make a variation of this, we can pin that to a different board in the stretching category later on, but we're not going to do that all at the same time. We're going to focus on this. And so we have morning stretches for flexibility. This phrase matches the keywords or is very closely related to the keywords that are in your board title. So now Pinterest knows these go together. These are very relevant to each other. And we are going to use some keywords within here. We can even use other related keywords, like we can use keywords here that are related in the description. So let's put together a description. Now, I like to do about 4 to 5 sentences. You can do more, and you don't want to just list out the keywords. What you really want to do is write out a description and use these keywords in natural language. This is really important because Pinterest does have a very smart spam filter, and people who just list out keywords tend to get caught in that spam filter because that's also what bots do, or accounts that are just spamming Pinterest are doing. So we want to talk about a morning stretches for flexibility routine. Maybe it's something that is good for beginners and it helps with, let's say, back and leg pain, okay, or back and leg stretching. So, are you, let's see, are you looking for a simple morning stretching routine? This new morning, this new video includes morning stretches for flexibility. These stretches are focused on eliminating, let's see, no, not eliminating. These stretches are focused on increasing flexibility in your back, legs, and hips. You can use this daily routine to let's say this morning routine. You can use this morning routine. You see how as I'm writing, I'm kind of like, let me rephrase that. You can use this morning stretching routine to increase your back and hip flexibility and reduce your back pain. Check out my blog post and morning flexibility routine video. Okay, so what this does is this has now incorporated multiple variation or words, and they don't have to be exact. So let's say that you are, you're looking at this and you're like, okay, well, you didn't exactly say back stretches for flexibility or like the exact phrase, right? But Pinterest can put together keywords even in different locations and kind of piece up and be like, oh, okay, so this hip flexibility is related to morning stretches for flexibility or flexibility stretching routine or something. Pinterest can pair those together. So now you are getting multiple keywords and multiple related key phrases in this description. And so you have this, when you have a pin, you're creating a 3-part strategy or a 3-component layer to add to your keyword strategy within Pinterest, because you've got your board, which this pin is pinned to. And we know that morning stretches for flexibility is very much related to stretching for flexibility. And we know that this keyword rich description really goes into depth to talk about what is included in this morning stretches for flexibility pin or content that you are linking to, right? So that is how this keyword strategy plays out with your pin. Now, the other day, I got a comment about having to do this keyword research for every single pin that you do. And here's the thing, is that you don't have to do this keyword research every single time that you create a new pin. You really should not have to. If the piece of content that you have falls within your topics and your categories that you've done research for, you should be able to use the keywords, the keyword set, the keyword list that you found for that specific pin. And you should be able to apply those keywords or use those keywords within the title and the description for that specific pin. So I know that for this example, if you are creating, you're creating a pin, and let's say instead of stretching, our topic was healthy vegan dessert recipes. Okay. And so let's say you made a recipe that was healthy vegan brownies, and you have a video that goes along with it, and you have a recipe on your blog. So when you did the keyword research for healthy vegan recipes, you should have found some different keywords here. Let's go to Pinterest and I'll show you what that looks like. So let's see, healthy vegan dessert recipes. Okay. So healthy vegan dessert recipes is going to be a category, or maybe even if we just did vegan dessert recipe. And see, you have all of these different, so you have healthy as one of the things. So let's say that your brownie, that's funny, I didn't even plan this. Let's say that your brownie recipe is going to fall under healthy. So let's say you have your different categories would be easy vegan dessert recipes, healthy vegan dessert recipes, raw vegan dessert recipes, gluten-free vegan dessert recipes, because we know those don't have to be the same. And then let's say quick vegan dessert recipes. Okay. So we know that your brownie recipe, the most relevant board that it's going to fall under is this healthy vegan dessert recipe board. Okay, so that's the first board that you're going to pin it to. Now, if it's gluten-free, you could also pin it with a different image later on to that gluten-free vegan dessert recipe board. Or if it's simple or if it's quick, you can pin it to multiple boards. You want to start with the most relevant board first. But here's the thing. If you're like, okay, well, I've done healthy vegan dessert recipes and I don't have one that specifically says brownie. Well, that's okay. You don't have to. Here's what you do with that. You go and you're going to create a pin, and you're going to do the best healthy vegan brownie dessert recipe. Okay. And then you're going to go and use those keywords that you found. So are you looking for an awesome, healthy vegan dessert recipe? This healthy vegan brownie recipe is one of my new favorite desserts. I love how quick and simple this these vegan brownies are. And I don't have to sacrifice the taste. Check out my blog post for the full recipe, vegan brownie recipe, along with other healthy vegan desserts and gluten-free baking. Okay. So a lot of these are keywords or similar keywords that were up in those colorful bubbles or very heavily related to your topics, right? So you don't need to be doing this keyword research over every single time you create a pin. And in fact, you really shouldn't. If you happen to create a piece of content and you are creating from a new general topic, that's okay. But you're just going to have to do your keyword research for that general topic. Okay. So let's say you're branching out from talking about vegan and gluten-free baking and desserts, and you want to maybe do vegan breakfast. Okay. And that's a new topic for you. So you just have to do keyword research for vegan breakfast and see what comes up and see what kinds of things people are searching for. And then your pins within that vegan recipe category should be able to use keywords to get found. Because unless somebody is specifically searching for a very specific keyword phrase, which does tend to happen in general when people are searching, you have to think of your keywords like this. They're searching for an idea or inspiration, but they may not actually have the end result in mind. So if you know somebody is looking for vegan breakfast ideas and you are thinking, okay, they need an egg-free, high protein breakfast. So maybe you search variations of vegan breakfast, egg-free breakfast, high protein vegan breakfast, right? Like think of the different variations, and play around with it. But once you do that in-depth keyword research, you likely are not going to have to keep doing it every single time you create a pin. If you are doing keyword research every single time you go to create a new pin, or you feel like you have to, I think that is more of an indication that your content strategy doesn't quite have it doesn't quite have like the finished product of linking everything together with what you're trying to do. This is really easy to happen overall in content strategy. And I would say that if you're at that place where we go back and this isn't working, this whole document that I took you guys through last week, where you have all of your different categories and you're still not having the right keywords for every single piece of content you're creating and trying to drive traffic to with Pinterest, is that we need to look at your goals and your content strategy rather than your keyword strategy, because your keyword strategy should support your overall content goals and your themes of your content rather than trying to find the very small portion who know exactly what it is that they're looking for. So let's say, an example of this is you've got a client who they know they have back pain and they know that they have sciatica or something, and they need a specific bed stretching routine for sciatica. I hope I'm saying that right. Um, Most people may not know that that's what they're looking for, but they may know that they need back stretches for flexibility because they have back pain or their back is really stiff and tight, right? So that supports that if your ideal client needs bed like morning bed stretches for sciatica pain and for back flexibility, that support this all of this supports that. Well, ballet and dance and splits doesn't support that, but you just don't use those, right? They're not relevant. But most of these support that, but that person is not likely searching for that specific thing unless they absolutely know. But what you want to do is you want to use this keyword strategy to kind of lead them up to they're going from a very general, broad search to the more that they search or the more that they go into your content, that they find the specific thing that meets their needs or what it is that they are looking to do. This, when I talk about Pinterest keyword strategy, I always feel like it is really hard not to bridge the conversation into your overall content strategy, because really your Pinterest is not going to work if your content strategy is not quite working and if your funnel strategy is not quite developed. You have to have the content in the funnel really perfected to maximize your results with Pinterest. Otherwise, there is a disconnect. The thing is, though, is that none of this becomes perfect overnight. It takes refining, and there's a lot of little things and tweaks that have to be made along the way. If you're somebody who is blogging about healthy vegan baking, but every once in a while you throw out a recipe about like mocktails, or you throw out maybe a recipe about or like a blog post about something like on the fitness side, right? But normally you're not a fitness blogger. Normally you're blogging about recipes and vegan baking. Those are times that maybe you can do that for fun here or there, but it shouldn't be the norm to be throwing out stuff that's not connected to like the theme of your content, of your business, or your content if you're a podcaster, a blogger, or a video creator, right? Until you are so established that you can branch out. Because what it does is you are going to have to do keyword research every single time. But then maybe they don't have that connecting point of, oh, well, I found you for this one mocktail recipe, but like, how does that connect with the rest of your content? Or how does that connect with your products and services, right? So this is where it does really start to like bridge that gap of like, okay, are we talking Pinterest keyword strategy, or are we talking about content strategy overall? Because they are a little bit different. And I will say, if you are here following this YouTube channel, I'm going to be talking about both. I'm going to be talking about content strategy and how to take them from Pinterest to your content, to your email list, to maybe a community, maybe a sales page, or maybe hiring you for a service, right? Or maybe you're taking them from Pinterest to your landing page, to your email list, to sales, right? I'm going to be talking about that overall and the different components of that. But on this video, that's not what we're focused on. We're focused on your keyword strategy. So what I think is really important is that when we are looking, and I should probably just stop sharing my screen. When we are looking at your Pinterest keyword strategy, your top level here with those main topics and keywords is your profile name and your profile description. So then we go to those specific top level keywords for each of the topics, right? So that goes to your board titles and then a little bit of your board descriptions. But those board descriptions should really have those lower level keywords. Go back to last week's video. If you haven't gone back to last week's video or you haven't watched it, this will make a lot more sense because I have the levels within the spreadsheet. And then your pin titles is that third layer. And your pin title should be a mix, I think, of that top level on the category pages. So for the breathwork, like breathwork techniques or best breathwork techniques, that falls within the breathwork category, but that should be your pin title. And then you use those additional lower level keywords within your pin descriptions to add more context to the topic. So you've got those three layers. And then of course, just know that everything needs to be relevant. So if you're taking, for example, the morning stretches routine, right? If you go to put that morning stretches pin, and it's a video, say that's going to a blog post and a video. If you go to put that morning stretches routine on the stretches for flexibility board and the stretches for beginners and stretching routine board, that's fine. It's super relevant to all of those. Pick the most relevant one first, wait a few days, and then you go to the next board and then the next board, right? If you go to put that on a breathwork board, could it line up? Maybe. But if it doesn't relate, that is where you need to separate it because those keywords for that board don't match your morning stretching routine video, right? So that's where the categorization really comes in handy when it comes to your keyword strategy. One thing that I'll say is that there are times where your topic does merge between your categories. And so start with the most relevant content piece from your first layer of your categories. And then take it through that same category, any of the relevant boards for the same category. And then you can take it over to the crossover category last. You just have to decide what's the most relevant. So let's say, for example, you're doing a yoga stretching routine video or something like that. that is something that if it has breath work associated, or maybe you have like, maybe it's like a guided breath work meditation or guided breath work stretching routine or something like that, right? See how that could be both stretching, but it could also be breath work. So those are crossovers. So let's say the main component of it is the stretching, or maybe the main component of it is the breath work, right? Whatever the main component of it is, pick the most relevant one. And so let's say for this example, it's breath work, because you're like, okay, they have to do the breath work, and then the stretching comes from the breath work. When they are ready, when we hit this point in the breath work guide, after like 5 minutes, they're going to start their stretch, and this is what they're going to do, right? So you start with the breath work. So you do the breath work routine, guided breath work, and then breath work video or whatever it might be, right? And then maybe you cross over into the yoga stretching routine, and then the guided stretching for beginners or something like that board. So you see how those can cross over, but you've got to pick the most relevant one first. And it's okay if they mix categories. You can use both. You can use different sets of the keywords and put those into the description. But overall, generally, your content should fall within those categories, so that you're like, okay, this is a specific topic within breath work. Okay, this is the breathwork board. Okay, this is the breathwork category of my account. Same with stretching, same with flexibility. Okay, stress management is over here. So you see, that's how the different layers work to take you from very broad topics to more specific. And the pins are the most specific, whereas your boards are categorizations, and your profile is the overall themes and topic within your account. I really hope that this made sense. I actually feel like now that I'm saying this out loud in this video format, I feel like I almost need more visuals to go along with this topic of your Pinterest keyword strategy. That's okay. My hope is that every time you watch a video or you learn, you can take even just one like nugget away, and you can go and apply it and just get a little bit better, especially if you're doing a DIY Pinterest strategy, because it's not going to be perfect. I mean, there's even, as a Pinterest manager, I'm learning all the time. I actually I took a course or a training a couple of weeks ago, because one of my clients' accounts was just not performing the way that I thought it should be. And I could not figure out why. And I took a training, and it actually helped me a lot. And so even I'm always perfecting, and the Pinterest app changes. They update their algorithms, they update different processes and systems within the app and the platform. So there's always learning to be had. And if you're not seeing the results that you want, I bet you that there's just a couple of tweaks that you need on the Pinterest side. And if you're getting some of the results on Pinterest, but you're not getting anything on the other side of your content or your services or your business, I bet you that it's either just a funnel issue or a content strategy issue that can be changed and perfected over time as well. So that is the Pinterest keyword strategy. Please let me know what questions you have. And again, if you want a copy of the keyword planner, I want you to go to the link that's going to be in the description. You can get that. And if you need to go back to the Pinterest keyword research video that I did last week, go back to that and make sure you go into your different categories and do your Pinterest keyword research and start thinking, okay, high level topic. Okay, specific keywords of that topic. What are people searching for? Don't use what's not relevant to you, but of course, if it's relevant to your content or your business, use those. And then more specific, in-depth, long tail keywords to give context to your content and to your pins. I hope that helps, and I will see you on next week's video.